Hello and welcome to the Armory. My name is Sean, and today we are going to be covering a subject that I've actually been asked quite frequently. But first, we are now on Rumble. So if you are also on Rumble, give us a follow. Help us grow as a channel. And here on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button so that we can continue to bring you firearm-related content. Now, links for our Discord will be below and for our Rumble channel. So come give us a visit. Now, the question that I've been asked has been, you have all these firearms, which one is your favorite? And I was actually just recently asked this the other day, and it got me thinking, which one is my favorite? And to be honest, I don't have a favorite. I can make a favorite in 4 different categories, but to just take all those and make a single, this is my favorite, I can't do. So today, what we're going to be doing is I am going to be going over my favorite firearms in 4 different categories. Our first category is going to be on bolt action rifles. Second category will be on shotguns. Third category will be semi-automatic firearms. And then the fourth and final category is which one of my handguns is my favorite. So stay tuned and we will get right on this and show you what my favorite is. So the first category here is my favorite bolt gun. And we're going to have to go back to World War I for this one because I actually find its history very unique. And I really love the way this firearm handles. It's accurate. It's a little bit on the long and heavy side, but it is still, to me, a really great firearm. And that would be my model of 1917. And I am actually currently working on a video for this to bring to you guys on the model of 1917's history, which includes the Pattern 14 rifle that we have hanging up on the wall here. But I really, just for the longest time, there was a time like in high school and everything, I had no idea this firearm even existed. Whenever anybody talked about World War I, we always talked about the Springfield 1903. And when I found out about this rifle, I started doing a little bit of digging. And I really enjoy the history on this firearm. Originally, it was supposed to be chambered in a intermediate cartridge, and it was dubbed the Pattern 13 rifle. But when World War I broke out, the British actually scrapped the plan for the rifle and stuck with their Lee Enfields. Being that they didn't have enough Lee Enfields, they went to the U.S., said, hey, we have this rifle here, but we want it in the same chambering as our Lee Enfields and 303 British. Can you make this? And Remington, Eddystone, and Winchester started producing the Pattern 14 rifle in the 303 British cartridge. From there, when we entered World War I, we also did not have enough firearms. And long story short, and we're going to cover this all in depth in the Pattern 14 model of 1917 video. But long story short, this rifle came about because our ordnance department went to these manufacturers and said, hey, you've been making this for the British. Can we rechamber this in 30-06 and instead of having you guys tool up for the 1903, continue making these in 30-06? And that's exactly what they did. And they actually pumped out so much more of these rifles. I don't have the exact number on hand, but come to find out, the majority of these firearms were issued to our troops overseas. In fact, Medal of Honor recipient Sergeant York did not have the 1903 when he did his deeds that got him the Medal of Honor, but in fact, he was issued with a model of 1917 and a 1911. And despite what the movie about him showed. Because if you watch the old movie, it shows him with a 1903. And even watching some of the old World War I flicks, a lot of them did not show the model in 1917. But a couple of years ago, I did watch a movie, and I'd already gotten this 1917. I really loved it. And when I was watching, just one day randomly watching the movie, it predominantly had model of 1917. So it was historically accurate in that aspect. And I just love how this firearm shoots. I love how it handles. And I'm hoping next year to actually go up and use it in the CMP military firearm contest in the competition shooting. So hopefully I'll be able to get up there for that next year. So let's move on to our next one, which is going to be my favorite shotgun. All right, so now we're talking about my favorite shotgun. And a lot of people actually do know this shotgun. I mean, I'd be surprised if you honestly didn't, unless you're new to firearms. My particular shotgun here is made in 1912. And I do have, you've only seen two shotguns on the wall here. But I do have others. I have a Mossberg 88. I've got a couple 870s, but my personal favorite shotgun is this one here, the 1897 Winchester. And I personally love this shotgun. This here is the takedown model, which quite simply, pop the tab here, pull that pin, rotate. I like to pop the pin back in, take the action. It pulls the barrel out here, well, the magazine tube out, rotate, and now you're apart. To put it back together, boom. Quite simple, just all in reverse order. It's quick, it's easy, it's very reliable. Out of all my shotguns, this is my favorite. I love to shoot it. As I said, it was made in 1912. I did trace it back that far. A lot of the bluing on it is gone. I've been asked if I plan on ever refinishing it, and to be honest, no. I love it the way it is. It looks old. It's not rusted, but it looks old. It has that unique look to it of age, and I really enjoyed. This is my go-to shotgun in any event. Yeah, it's a pump action shotgun. It's old, but it still has the one unique cool feature, the slam fire. And none of my other shotguns can do that. But I mean, it's just the fact that this is a shotgun from history. We used it in World War I, World War II. I mean, it's really just such a great, reliable, functioning shotgun. And I would not give it up for anything. And to be honest, I mean, I got it from my local gun dealer, gun runner, and that's where I get a lot of my stuff from, because he has a lot of the older military surplus firearms. I got that literally from him. I've gotten actually the 1917, the pattern 14, the 1903 that's hanging on the wall, I've gotten from him there. The K98, the Berthier that we're currently working on, I've gotten from him. But I mean, when I saw this shotgun there was no way I could pass it up. I spent 15 years looking for one at my local dealers, and it just happened to walk in one day. I walk in and sitting right there, and I'm like, let's do it. And this will probably be one of the last firearms that I would ever be willing to ever give up, because it's just accurate. It's just reliable. So yeah, sorry about that. War Rabbit's over there having a little bit of fun. But like if I was to need a shotgun by my bed, this would be the one for it. I personally feel that home defense is very important, and this would make a great home defense shotgun. So next, what we're going to talk about is my favorite semi-automatic. And before we get to that part, let's see if you can guess which one on that wall it's going to be. May surprise you, because I may or may not have talked about it yet in any of my videos. So let's go take a look, see which one of those is going to be my favorite. All right, and now we come to our semi-automatic rifle category. And for this one, this really wasn't that hard of a decision for me. I really love the rifle. It's very comfortable in my hands, and it's got its own history. It's also known as the right arm of the free world. So today, we have the FAL. And for me, this is, as I said, this is very comfortable. Comfortable in my hands. It's comfortable when I shoot. And I really, honestly love this firearm. I've shot it a numerous of times. This is another one I got from my dealer. And for this, when I got this is one of the DS arms. But it comes with a polymer magazine. I actually had to go and find the actual magazines for this. And these are 20 round magazines, what was traditionally issued to the troops. But I also enjoy a little bit of the history on this. In 1946, the first prototype was actually made, and it was chambered in 7.92 by 33 Kurz, the same German round that the STG-44 was chambered in. And then the British worked with them, and they're like, okay, we're going to chamber this in 280 British. They wanted to go to an intermediate cartridge. And so they were like, all right, let's do this. And so they produced a few, tested them, and then the U.S. got involved, and this is where the backroom dealing, I guess we can call it that, got out of hand. The U.S. was like, hey, look, we want to keep with a 30 caliber cartridge. Let's make these in 7.62 by 51, and we will make them our standard service rifle. FN's like, all right, we'll do that. And so they standardized with NATO for the 7.62 by 51 during trials. I guess the theory is there was some backroom dealing going on, and instead of the U.S. keeping their promise to FN and adopting the FAL, we ended up going with the M1A, which personally, I feel that was a bad decision. The M14 was not, in my opinion, as good as the FAL. It was heavier. You had that traditional stock with the M14, whereas here you've got that pistol grip here. You have the bipods, which mine does have the bipods. Yes, you had on the production model for the military, it was a 21-inch barrel. Mine's got a little bit of a shorter barrel on it. Still within legal regulations. But we're going to cover this rifle and its history and development in full detail later on. But this is my favorite semi-automatic rifle just because it's comfortable to shoot. The recoil is not too bad. It's unique. I love it, and I'm comfortable. And when it comes to firearms, comfort is paramount. If you're not comfortable shooting the firearm, you're not going to be comfortable using it if you need to. So finding one that's comfortable for you, I find is very important. And our next topic that we're going to be covering is my favorite handgun. And let me tell you, this one is a very, very difficult one for me because I actually had to do some real thinking on this. So let's go on to that one. All right, so now we're going on to our last subject on this, and that is my favorite handgun. And let me tell you, this was actually a very difficult choice because when it comes to handguns, I look at what's practical for me. I'm going to piss off a few people here because I have three of my handguns never were even considered for this list, to include my Glock, my 1911, or my Beretta. They were nowhere near at the top of this list for my favorite handgun. Actually, to be honest, the top choices on my favorite handgun were my Jericho, my SIG 226. There was a couple others that were near it, but I thought, like my P38 was close there, but that's only because of the cool factor from World War II on that. But to be honest, the one that made my favorite handgun list is my SIG 226. And this one here is it's a law enforcement trade-in. It is chambered in the 40 caliber Smith & Wesson. It's not the standard 9mm that everybody's used to. If you notice, this one does not have the hammer. This is a double action Kellerman trigger. So why did this one beat out my polymer handguns, my striker fired handguns, and even my Jericho? Well, to be honest, my Jericho, in any situation, I enjoy it. It's unique. It's designed a lot off of the CZ75, but it's also some of its downfalls as well. It's got that really thin slide, and when I injured my hand a couple years ago, I could not pull the slide back at all to save my life. Whereas I found a way for my SIG here, I found a way to actually manipulate it even with a broken hand. My SIG, I'm still working with my everyday carry, which is my everyday carry is actually another SIG. It's the M17, which is the reason I really like my M17 is it feels a lot like my 226 here. And for the 226, I got this one at a gun show. I had to do my background check and everything at the gun show because that's what they do here in Ohio. When you buy a gun at the gun show, you do a background check. I don't care what anybody says about a gun show loophole. You still have to do your background check. But this was, as I said, this was a law enforcement trade-in. It does not have that decocker on it because it is the double action Kellerman. But when I took it to the range after getting it, I was blown away by how accurate and comfortable it was in my hand. And this is going back to the FAL, what I was just talking about comfort. And I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, I'm looking to get my first gun. What would you recommend? And again, to the 1911 and the Glock people, I've been at too many gun stores where they're like, oh, you need a 1911 or, oh, you need a Glock. My answer to that is get what is comfortable for you. If you're going to be comfortable holding it, if you're going to be comfortable using it, you'll be comfortable carrying it. If you are not comfortable with it, you're not going to want to use it. You're not going to want to carry it. I personally carry full size. And when I was on duty, I started off with my Glock. And then I then got my Canic, and I liked it more than my Glock. I mean, there were some aspects of it I didn't like as much as the Glock, but it had a lot more features that I liked. And then I got this SIG, and I took it to the range the same day I got it, and I absolutely loved it. Even though it's older than my Canic and heavier than my Canic, this became my duty gun. Until I went and got my SIG M17. And whenever in my SIG M17 became my everyday carry and the gun I use when I have to go out. But the M17, I'm not putting it on that list of my top one because it was this 226 that got me into SIG. It just feels absolutely perfect in my hand. And the accuracy I feel with it, when I'm at the range, the amount of accuracy I get with it is just, it's better than my Beretta. It's better than my 1911. It might just be me. More than likely, it's just me, how I shoot it. But I personally feel that it is justified to be considered as my favorite handgun.
If you like firearm-related content or you wish to learn more, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and if you wish to support what we do, visit us at thearmoryhub.com. If there's anything you want to see, let us know in the comments below. Links are in the description. We will see you next time at The Armory.